Hi friends, and welcome back to Painting with Mr. Bates. I'm going to attempt to do one of paintings that I did last week with the oil paintings. I'm going to do one similar to it. But I've got my palette started off here. I've got a little bit of titanium white, lake blue, phthalo blue, and I've got some black off to the side that I'll be using later on. So I'm going to start off, of course, with the sky part of it. And just like before, our water bottle. And we're going to mist down our canvas and take our brush and just moisten the canvas, get it ready for taking these colors in. And like I said, the water works just like the liquid white in helping to keep our colors going pretty good. So we're going to start off with a little bit of the lake blue and a little bit of the phthalo blue. And we're going to mix those two together just to get kind of a nice rich light blue, kind of sky blue. And just as before, I'm going to start off in the corner, basically with our X pattern going all the way across. A little bit more paint down here. I'll come back in just a little bit and I'll go over the edges here because this will be a wraparound painting. I'm going to start pulling down some. Not too much worried about this because that'll be covered. And I'm going to go across, back and forth here just to take out the brush strokes. I'm going to bring it down just a little bit more. Grab a little bit more of that phthalo blue, a little bit more of the light of the lake blue here. Just like so. And now, like I said, this is a wraparound painting, so we're going to go ahead and hit our edges here. Now, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to release this here. Just drop it back behind the painting. Continue across the top here. This will dry pretty quickly, so I'll be able to go back and lock it back down to keep it from moving around on me. Go across, just lightly go across, take out those brush strokes. Alright, we're going to go ahead and rinse our 2X brush off. We'll warm it later on. We'll wash it off with a little bit of water. Paper towel pad, and we'll rinse it one more time. And we're going to grab our 1.5-inch brush here, and the wide brushes work great and they help out a lot. We're going to grab our 1.5-inch. We're going to go straight into the titanium white. Bring it right here. Maybe just grab just a little bit, touch of that late blue. A little bit more titanium white in there. And just with the corner of the brush, we're going to go in and we're going to just plant us a cloud or two in here. We're going to grab a dry brush. While the paint's still wet, I'm going to go right here. Just kind of soften up our clouds here. I'm barely going to touch. Soften it up. I'm going to grab just a little bit more of the titanium white. And guys, you can make your clouds as white or as darker if you want to add in some color to it. You know, if you get into like your sunsets to where you're getting some nice little hues of orange and red in there, and maybe little yellows, a little bit of blue. If it's a cloudy day, you might have some grayish blue clouds coming in. So they don't have to be perfectly white. And don't overload your sky with clouds either. You want to have some of that color to come out. 1 or 2, maybe 3 clouds is perfectly fine. And of course, remember, clouds come, like I said before, in different shapes and sizes. We're going to go back to our dry brush and just go in here and soften it up a little bit. And with the acrylics, it tends to dry kind of quick. So you have to work quick. You might have to work in a little more with the acrylics as it starts to dry. You can kind of go in and just moisten your brush just a little to make it easier to grab that paint and to take it in. We're going to have this nice big cloud right here. I may actually want to come back and I think I kind of like that. It's going to be kind of maybe this little storm cloud wanting to move in. Dry that brush just a tad. I'm going to come back. I'm going to grab just a little bit more of that titanium white, just to kind of go right back over there. One good thing about painting is you can always go back and adjust. Maybe we got a little storm cloud moving in. Little rain cloud trying to move this way in. So that's our sky. We're going to give this just a moment to dry. It won't take it long. I'll come back. When we come back, we're going to work on putting our mountain scene in, and we'll go over again once again the mountains, snow topping. We'll come back in. We'll add our mountain scene, and then we'll work on our water and land masses. So we'll be back in just a moment. I'm going to work on this, allow it to dry for just a moment, and add a little bit more paint back to my palette, clean these brushes, and we will be right back. Alright, and welcome back. Now we're going to go into our palette here, and you can see I still have the same colors on here. I decided just to stick with what we have right now. I'm going to go with a little bit of the Rains Gray, which is basically kind of a black color, and back in with our titanium white. Those are going to be my 2 basic colors I'm going to be using for this. I'm going to start off with just a little bit of the titanium white. I'm going to mix it. Right here, we're going to go grab that Rains Gray, which is, like I said, is a black color. I want it to be a darker gray, but not quite black. little bit more of this. Keep mixing it, and I think this is going to be the color that we're going to go with. And when you're mixing your colors, using your palette knife, just take kind of pick it up and fold it over. You get a good blend of your colors. And just like with the oil paints, we're going to use our palette knife to apply this. So I'm just going to cut across, get a little bit on our palette knife, and we're going to decide where we're going to go with our mountain scene to start off with this. So I think we're going to start right about here. And just like before, we're not too much worried about the exact completion of it, because we're going to come back with our brush and blend this in a little bit more. We just want to get the basic shape of the mountain. Some mountains have high peaks, and some, of course, don't. Like I said, I'm basing this one off of one of my earlier oil paintings. No two paintings are identical, no two paintings are the same. It's just going to be based off of that one. Now, I'll go with the basic same idea, the same pattern possibly, but it's not going to be identical. Trees may be different, mountain will probably be different. So there we go, we have that done. And I want to use some more of this color later, so I'm going to move it over here on my palette. I'm going to grab some paper towel. Alright, we got our palette knife clean. I'm going to hang it right back over here. I'm going to go back to my 2-inch brush. I'll grab the 2-inch brush, and what I'm going to do is I want to be able to pull that down. So I just took and misted my brush with it, and I'll use my apron here, my smock, to kind of dry it, but it's still a little damp. And we're going to go, and we're just going to grab and pull down, just like before. So grab it, pull down. And now, if you remember from the last video on the mountain that I was doing, in order to pull more of that color down, I actually grabbed a spray bottle and just kind of lightly mist it. Not a lot. Don't want it to be super wet. And that allows me to grab some more of that paint. Don't want it to be too wet. If you do, then you're just going to end up taking your paint completely off the canvas, and we don't want to do that. I'm going to grab my palette knife. I want to go back right here. I think we're going to put just a hint of maybe a higher peak. Right in here. once again, using the 2-inch brush, I'm going to continue to pull down with the paint. We'll grab our spray bottle one more time. Just a quick little spritz, because I want to grab some of this color. Pull down. Alright. I'm going to put our 2-inch brush in the water over here. I'm going to grab some paper towel and just kind of clean up a little bit of this. It's not going to come off completely. Just want to kind of clean up a little bit of the excess moisture on that so that it doesn't run down. We're going to come back, and this area right in here, of course, will have a lot of our scenery, a lot of our background land mass, things like that will be going into it. So this is kind of what we're looking for. We're going to go into this. So I'll be back shortly. I'm going to work on my colors, mix some more colors up here, and I'm going to give this mountain scene time to dry just a little before we add our snow peaks to it, and we'll be right back in just a moment. Alright guys, welcome back. Now we're going to go in with our phthalo white right here, and we're just going to start. We're going to use our palette knife here, and just like I said before, just lightly hold it. You just really want to kind of hold it right around the base, really light. And you're going to come in and you'll start right on the edge and just kind of pull down. So just watch. We're going to grab some white. We're going to pull it down so we can grab some of it and just cut across. Get a nice little bead on your knife. And we're going to go, I think we'll start right in here. Like I said, just get it on and kind of pull down. So come back and grab a little bit more. Right in here and right on the edge. Just start right at the kind of almost in a sharp point to it. And then as you come down, allow your knife to just kind of flatten out. Grab just a little bit more here. And we'll come right here. Right on the edge. Again, come down. Allow the knife to just kind of flatten out on it. This is going to be a nice snowy mountain, snow-covered mountain here, so we'll get a little bit more on there. Just keep working our way over. And just pulling down really light with the knife. And like I say, this is a nice, I'm putting a more snow on this one than I did the last mountain that I did. This is just going to be a nice, really nice snow-covered scene here. So we want a good bit of snow. And we'll come back and we'll add in our shadows. After this part here dries, so I'll add that in a little bit later. I'll scrape. And the reason scraping the way I am is I want some of that darker color to bleed through. And like I said, this is just a nice snowy mountain scene. But we don't want it to be completely white. I want a little bit of that mountain to be showing through. Alright, I'm going to go clean this palette knife. Don't go anywhere. I'm just going to step right here, grab a piece of paper towel, and wipe this excess paint off. The good thing about the palette knives and the acrylics, it just wipes right off. Alright, got a palette knife cleaned off here. I'm just going to just hang it right back here on the side of my easel. Now we're going to come in. I'm going to go ahead and do my water scene here. Now, just as before, in order to have this to blend really well, we need to have some moisture to it. So we're going to use our spray bottle of water. And I'm going to go a little bit heavier this time because I want some good flow. I'm going to spray that on there, and I'm going to take my brush. Spread that moisture out across here. That's not all I'm going to do. I'm also going to, because I'm going to be using the lake blue for my watercolor. So I'm going to actually wet my palette a little bit. I really want this to be, you know, a good spreadable consistency. I want it to be almost transparent. Grab a little bit of that titanium white. We're going to brush up. Now this time, instead of doing the X motion, I'm basically going to just load up the brush and we're going to go across. Just like so. We're going to go ahead, since this is a wraparound, we'll go ahead now and grab the sides here. So we're just going to pull from the side. And I'm going to do this. I'm going to lift up our painting, get it up on the edge here, so that we can get all the way down to the bottom edge. Alright, we're going to go across, just like this. I'm going to stop right in here, and then I'm going to come to this side over here and do the same thing. I'm going to go across, and again, just wrap around. So we want to go ahead and get this edge, and I'll come back and get the bottom edge of this a little bit later on. We're going to go ahead, we're going to load up the brush again, and just pull this color across, stopping just short of the middle. I'll leave that white there, and you'll see why. Again, we're going to do that blending again that we did before. I'm going to go back and I'm going to grab my dry brush. I'm going to pick up some of this excess paint here. Right, now, before I do that, I'm going to put this over here in the water and let it be dry. Let it be rinsing off. Before I do that, though, I'm going to take my paper towel. I'm just going to kind of blot the excess water right here. The reason I did that is because when I take my 2-inch brush here, I'll lay my palette down. Take my 2-inch brush, and I'm just going to simply back and forth motion all the way across. Now you see I got some kind of going up onto the mountain here, but that's okay because it's got to be filled in with trees and shrubbery and land. But as you see, I'm just kind of barely going across that middle section there. I want to leave that light. That's just going to be like the light source going in. So I'm going to leave that the way it is. I'm going to give that a moment to dry because with the acrylics, they're going to mix in very well. And if I come across this with the lighter greens that I'm going to be using here shortly, I'm going to end up with that blue being a stronger color. I'm going to end up with that blue and the black right in here, the gray. It's going to start bleeding through. And I don't want that right now. And I don't want to risk, because I made this very, very moist with the water. I don't want to risk over blending any of this. So I'm going to let this dry. While it's drying, I'll go ahead and hit the bottom half of this, let that dry, and we'll come back and work on the finishing touches to it. All right, we've allowed this to dry. I went ahead and hit the bottom edge with it. So we have our edges all the way around colored in. We'll put this back on and lock it back down. All right, went back and remixed my colors, cleaned my palette. So we've added some more colors here. We went back with our Rains Gray, Fallow Green, Burnt Umber, Light Green, and Burnt Sienna. That's going to be our main color choices we're going to go with. This time we're going to go back with our 1.5 inch brush. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take and I'm going to mix up. I'm going to use my palette knife for this because I don't want to get my colors all messed up. I'm going to mix up a little bit of the Fallow Green. Just a touch of the Burnt Umber. I don't want a nice dark color here for our distant background. Alright, so we're going to put that there. We're going to put a palette knife over it. Actually, I'm going to go with a smaller brush. I was going to go with the 1.5 inch. I think I'm going to go with a little bit smaller brush here. I'm going to go with a number 6 here. Just a small brush, number 6. I'm going to go with that. And just as before, just a little bit of tapping. We're going to tap in our colors. You know what? I think I will start off with 1.5 inches just to get this section right in here with what I want. So we're going to start off. I'm going to grab just a corner, and we're going to come in and maybe there's some trees living back here in the back. Grab a little bit more of that color there. Some trees just living off in the distance. Right in here. Grab our other 1.5 inches, and while this right here is still wet, I'm going to grab, I want to pull down just to give the slightest indication there of some reflection. Not so much worried about that over there because it's going to be covered, and just go across it. Not too much worried about that because we'll add into that. Just pull down and go across. All right. Now we're going to go in, and I'm going to use that number 6 I was talking about, number 6 brush. I'm going to grab just a little bit of the light green, maybe a little bit of the start mixture, a little bit of that light green, A little bit more. And then we're going to kind of just dab in some highlights here. Again, it's kind of off in the distance, so I don't want it to really stand out against the rest of the painting. Just to give the indication of some land and some trees at the base of the mountain. There we go. Maybe just a little bit lighter. And stand back, guys, and look at your painting. Get an idea of what it looks like. Stand back, look at it from different angles. And if you don't really like it, you can go back and kind of touch it up. And I really don't like what I see here. I want that to be, I don't want it to stand out a lot, but naturally I do want it to be a part of the painting. I want it to be noticeable. I want you to be able to look at it and say, well, you know, look at that back in the back there. So we're just going to kind of, and not going to completely cover, just going to give the indication of some different color plant life and a little bit of different leaves and shrubbery. So we will be back shortly. All right, guys, I'm back. I just wanted to make a little bit of adjustments here. Kind of adjusted the camera setup here so to get a little bit better view. Again, I'm going to go back, and this time I'm going to start in, and we're going to try to decide where we want to put, where we want to have our tree living at this time. So I'm going to go grab my number 4 fan brush. It's right here, and most of my brushes that I use, I've got some older brushes, but most of my new brushes I'm using are Master's Touch. It's a little bit higher quality brush, not your most expensive. Bob Ross is probably the most expensive brush on the market, next to some of the higher quality Master's Touch. I like the Master's Touch. It has a good bristle here and everything. I like it. It works really great. So this is what I'm going to use, the number 4 fan brush, and I'm just going to go in and I'm going to grab a little bit of the burnt sienna, a little bit of the light green, a little bit more. And we're going to decide where we want to put our first tree. All right. You know what? I think I'm going to come in here and I'm going to put maybe one right about here. So we're just going to kind of, using the corner of our brush, just going to kind of let one live off in the back right there. I'm going to just kind of clean off a brush, grab a little bit of this range gray, come right over here, and we'll give just the indication of a trunk, maybe some little branches in there. Alright, and now we're going to grab a little bit more of this color here, lighten it down a little bit. Come off the side there, and we're going to go back to our brush, our 2-inch or 1.5 inch. I'm just going to kind of, again, just kind of the indication of a reflection going here. And like I said in my last videos, reflections are something I'm still working on, as well as my mountain scenes and everything. And one thing I want to do that I need to come back to, I need to grab just a little bit more of my light blue color, my lake blue. Not much, just a little bit. Alright, like I said, I didn't want to get, like I said, just a touch of the light lake blue. And I've switched my brush up. I'm going to grab a 3/8 inch angle brush. This is another brush that I have in my collection. I'm going to grab a little bit of the range gray. I'm going to mix in with this. And this is just basically to do a little bit of shadowing in here. Doesn't have to be perfect. It's a little bit too dark, so we're going to go a little bit more of the lake blue. And just the indication of some shadows. And again, I'm still learning myself, still working on the techniques of getting everything blending in just right. So as I learn, you can learn with me. And the best way to learn is by making mistakes. They don't have to be perfect. There we go. Just an indication. Maybe I'm just kind of touch some in there, just to get a little indication of some shadows, some lights going across, darker spots going across in that section there. I'm gonna rinse that brush off, and I'm gonna go back to. I'm gonna grab a number 8 brush here this time. This is number 8, just another little small brush. And I'll go back into the phthalo green. I think this time I'm going to go with just the phthalo green. And we're going to go in and we're just going to start working on this land here and how we want it to come out. Maybe a touch of the light green mixed in with the phthalo green. Get some different colors, different textures going in with it. And just basically, guys, just tapping. You can just simply brush it in. I watched a video earlier, another lesson, and it was just some quick brush strokes going in, which ends more into expressionism type of art, kind of a blend of expression, and she had a little bit of almost in the abstract style. What you can do is great. The painting looked good, but myself, I want to go with the more of the portrait style. That it looks like something that you would actually go out and see. So just going to I'm going to keep working on this. Going to keep tapping in this color. I'm just going to keep using the phthalo green and the light green. That's going to be my colors here until I get this landmass right here. Where, when I get back, we'll come back in just a few moments. You'll see this part of the landmass. And before I start working on the next section, I'll come back and we'll talk more about that. So we'll be right. All right, and welcome back through the magic of video editing. Our landmass is greatly expanded. Basically, it's used this very same technique that we used over here on this side here with just the tapping. And our colors again that we used was the phthalo green, light green. On this side over here, I added in just a little bit of the burnt umber into the mix to give it just a little bit of darker color in there. I've also added the titanium white back to my palette. We're going to be adding that in just here shortly. But what we're going to do now is we're going to work on adding some trees. So I've got my brush here has got a little bit of, actually it has a little bit of both the phthalo green and the light green mixed in it, and that's perfectly fine. That's great. Those colors will blend greatly together and give us some highlights. So we're going to first decide where we want a tree. And like I said, I'm going based on one of my older paintings, one of my earlier paintings that I did with oil painting, attempting it with the acrylics, and not too bad so far. And we're going to fix this up a little bit. We're going to add some more, a lot more to it, some more trees, some more brushes, and a little bit more color into it here shortly. But we're going to go in, we're going to put our tree in. Got my fan brush. We're back to our number 4 fan brush, and I'm going to load this fan brush up. I'm going to decide where I want this tree, and since I'm basing it on one of my earlier paintings, we're going to go right. We'll go right in here. So we're going to go. That's going to be where our tree's going to start. So just using the corner of our fan brush. If you notice, I'm not being too detailed on my branches because, as we know, trees, like everything else, come in different shapes and sizes. So this one may not be as full as some of the others. So I'm going to go, and again, this is a wraparound, so we're going to take our branches on this one. As they come down, we're going to go ahead and take them around to the sides. So again, just using the corner of the fan brush. We're getting down in here, so I'm going to probably lighten this up just a tad so that it will start filling in. All right. Going in with the light green here. I'm going to grab just a little bit of this burnt sienna. Just kind of come back and touch in here. As we get in. And now, I'll fill this in with some bushes that will take care of that bottom portion there. So I'm not too much worried about bringing those branches all the way down. So I'm going to go in to the raised gray, grab some of it onto the fan brush, and we're going to go in here and we're just going to give the indication of a tree trunk coming down. Maybe just a branch here and there. Alright. Now I'm going to put my fan brush over here in the water and let it be soaking. I'm going to go back and we'll grab my number 6 brush again. And we're going to grab some of this burnt sienna in the light green. A little more of that light green, maybe a little bit of the phthalo green. And we're just going to come right back in to this area right here. We're going to just by tapping and add this in. Now I'm going to come over here. I've got just a little bit of this phthalo green left. I think I'm going to have just this slight indication of a small tree just kind of leaning off to the side here. Nothing major. I'm going to come back and I'm going to take one of my very small brushes. This is a number 0 round. It's a very small brush. I'm going to grab just a little bit of this Rains Gray and just the indication of some trees, maybe some branches. Alright. And maybe we've got one coming off. Maybe we've got one coming off over here on this side. I'm going to moisten my palette a little bit right here because I want this to be, I don't want it to be runny, but I want it to be loose enough that I can move it on my canvas without having any breaks in the paint. So we're just going to come right here, and again, this is a wraparound. So we'll make sure that we grab the sides. And maybe this one here, maybe it's a branch of an old dead tree that just kind of comes off. Just like this. Out in the forest, sometimes you see trees that have died and the branches are still there, but they don't have any foliage on them at all. So maybe that's what this one here is. It's just an old deadwood. And again, it's a wraparound, so I'll continue it on around. And maybe he has a friend that lives right around the base right here next to it, just a little small. Just like so. Doesn't have to be perfect. We're going to do the same thing over here. We're going to come over to the other side. and if you'll look, notice I'm just kind of rolling the brush to get some paint on it. I'm going to come over here. I think I'm going to do the same thing. I think we're going to have one coming off the side, just kind of going in right here. Maybe it's just a branch coming out. It's got in the line of view. Not even going to go with a full one, maybe just a branch. Just got into the line of the view of the photo. The painting here, we'll say this one was as the phrase of photo bombed. Maybe we'll call this one a painting bombed. And again, we're just gonna, it's a wraparound, so let's just take it all around, just like so. All right, I'm gonna put these brushes over into my water, and we're gonna clean our fan brush. Before I do that, I'm gonna make a little bit of adjustment here because I want you to see what I'm doing. So I'm gonna adjust the camera just a little bit. I'll be right back, and don't go anywhere because we're gonna finish this painting up here shortly. All right, welcome back. taken and I zoomed in just a little bit so you can see more of what I'm going to be doing. Put a little bit more of the light green on my palette. I'll grab that. And I'm going to go up here and I'm just going to highlight this section back here. And just a little bit highlighting into this section back here, just to kind of make it pop, make it stand out just a little bit more against this other background. Alright, not a lot. We'll do the same thing over here. We're going to go in and we're going to add a little bit of highlighting and maybe, oh, battery's low. Alright, just kind of highlighting into this section right here. Get the indication of some shrubbery, some bushes, and maybe grab just a little bit of the burnt sienna and mix in. Not a lot, but I still want that highlighted color to be in there. Just a little bit. Same thing over here. We're just gonna highlight using the light green. Just gonna kind of touch around on a tree here. Now we're going to use back to our number 4 fan brush. We're going to grab some of the titanium white. And then we're going to come in and just kind of just the indication of some water flowing. Alright, now we're going to go back. Now we can just about call this painting complete. I'm going to go back and I'm going to grab, once again, I'm going to spray a little bit of water. Alright, we'll spray a little bit of water on here just so that we can get that nice flowing consistency. I'm going to go back into our Rains Gray. And we've got to have some birds. So we're going to off in the distance, maybe a bird or two. off in the distance, and as they get closer, alright, we got a few little birds there. Let me add one more coming down off in front of the mountain here. So we got a few little birds here. I'm going to go back and I'm going to call this painting finished. And grab a little bit more of this paint. We're going to come down here and we're going to sign it. Alright, and there we go. A nice little mountain scene there. I went similar with earlier oil painting design. Let's see if I can show you which one I'm kind of going with here. This is basically the original oil painting design. So I kind of used it for an idea. It's not identical. None of my paintings will be identical, but this is just an idea of what we have. We're going to zoom out a little bit on it, and this is the finished product. Hope you enjoyed this. Don't be afraid to try. Don't be afraid to get in there and experiment. I hope you enjoyed this, and stay tuned for later paintings as we learn together. So again, hope you enjoy painting with Mr. Bates.